This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. What I'm looking at today is 2019's The House at the End of the Street, directed by Mark Tonderai. And I had two reasons for watching this movie. The first is that I mistook it for The Last House on the Left, which I believe came out, I should say the remake of it came out about 2 years earlier. Really good movie, by the way. And the other reason is that it's directed by Mark Tonderai. Now, the only reason I've heard of him recently is that he also directed Spell, which is currently streaming. And he's talked about how he wants to direct the reboot of Blade for Marvel Studios. So I figured I need to get a look at this guy's work to see if he has what it takes. Now, keep in mind something. It's not like Kevin Feige confides in me about these matters. It's literally irrelevant. It's just for my own edification and nothing more. In any case, this movie stars Jennifer Lawrence, who is not the type of actor I will go see in a movie. It's not that she's a bad actress by any stretch. After all, I saw her in Mother, which is an interesting movie, by the way. A little obvious, but interesting. So it's not that she's bad, it's just that she's not the type of actor I tend to follow. The movie revolves around her and her mother, who moved to the last house at the end of the street, where in that neighborhood there was a brutal murder. And that's what the movie opens up with. And it's really done interestingly. It also gets a little overdone, but it's pretty bold and kind of remarkable for a movie of this nature. The only problem with this movie, I would have to say, is that it's overwritten in the sense that nothing you see within the first, I want to say, 40 minutes, everything is a twist. I tend to not like movies that do this type of thing because unless they're extremely well written, this is not. It's not badly written, but it's not well written enough to make this plausible. It just comes off as kind of convoluted and a little bit goofy, and this movie does. As I sort of mentioned earlier, the couple was killed by their daughter. She wasn't caught, so it's believed that she's running around. And so her brother now lives in the house, and he's shunned because he's thought of as weird. The movie doesn't give you much reason for assuming that, though all the characters in the movie, for the most part, do think that. So he's treated pretty badly by most people. As I said, believe nothing that you see about this movie, because very little of it really is presented in a very forthright manner. I would say that it has a very unreliable narrator, but the problem is everyone in the town is an unreliable narrator, because, and there's a logic to that in the sense that how would they know the details? But it's kind of irritating because the movie presents certain things as facts, which then turns around and just goes, okay, they're not facts now. And it gets pretty outlandish. It's not, as I said, it's not bad, but it's just way too convoluted. There's way too many things happening for it to really work that well. The ending is perhaps the straw that breaks the camel's back in the sense that it not only makes no sense in the context of the movie, but it steals from Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill, a much, much, much better movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It is really good. Good for a horror movie, that is. Though, let's go back to my central point, namely, based on the work Mark Tonderai has done, should he direct Blade? This is the only movie of his I've actually seen. I want to try to see others, though at this point I have to say no, if only because while The House at the End of the Street is gorgeously shot, it's done very well. It's also very well edited. One should never give all the credit for what you see on a movie screen to the director. They're certainly important, but this movie is just very well edited. It's a great looking movie, cinematographer, so there's a lot of people to thank. Though I've never seen him do action, as in fighting, which Blade would be filled with. Now that's not to say he can't. He's directed other movies. I'm going to try to see more of his work to see if perhaps action is a strong suit of his. And you have to keep in mind that Guillermo del Toro, director of Blade 2, is not an action director. Also, I should mention Pacific Rim. He's not, strictly speaking, an action director, but he can shoot action very well. His camera work in reference to action shooting doesn't tend to be overly complex. But the thing is, you're dealing with a lot of moving parts, so if the camera isn't flying all over the place, that only works to the director's benefit, I would think. So I can't say with any kind of certainty that Mark Tonderai can't do action very well. I don't know. Though, until I see what he can do with action, I'm not at all sure he would be a great choice for Blade. In any case, what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in a review. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow. Peace.